Last week, a lot of the talk was around the NASCAR playoffs. A lot of the controversy with Danielle Trotta, Larry McReynolds, and the possibility of Mark Martin. And a lot of talk through this week has been playoffs, and what's the update with the playoff committee? Well, we finally have those updates thanks to Jeff Gluck, friend of the channel, who gave some updates and basically told the whole world that, yeah, he's on the playoff panel committee as well. Joining Christopher Bell, who we know is on there, and then the theorized Mark Martin, Dale Jr., Denny Hamlins of the world. There's about 40 from what he said is on it. And I kind of want to talk about what he said because I don't think it's going to be what fans want to hear right now. And I think it opens up an even more interesting discussion about the role of television in sports. So to open it up, he has said that they have had 2 meetings so far, one at the Daytona 500, one during the Coke 600. Now, I can already hear everybody asking the question. I asked it too when he was live. Why only 2 so far? You've been doing this thing now for the entire season and y'all met twice. Maybe going on thrice coming up based on what he was talking about. And the big talking point with that is just getting everybody in the same place, ready to go. If you remember all the way back in 2009, there were a lot of problems with NASCAR at that time. And after the Coke 600, they brought everybody together. Now, I will by no means say I'm an insider at NASCAR and that I know everything of the ins and outs and the workings. But I will say there's only a select amount of weekends that you really get the entire industry there, that you get everyone from different TV providers, that you get the competitors, owners, everyone showing up. Now, I will say, I think this needs to be priority number 1A to the car being 1B. I don't think they're mutually exclusive, but that's something that I think caught a lot of people's ears early on. Another part of this is that the first meeting was really centered around what the goal is. Why are we doing this? And is there a need for a change? Which with this committee here, I think there is a pure need for change. With it too, they also talked about the different formats, some that are vastly in favor of the full season championship format, those who like the 10 race chase kind of in the middle, those who like the playoffs, and then everybody else swinging back and forth amongst the industry, amongst ideas. So the big talking point when it came to what they want to accomplish is credibility, as well as also having a good sample size. So just kind of twirling in both of those in the legitimacy argument. I think we all know we have a legitimacy issue, and then simplicity. It was kind of one of the things of their meeting that Jeff brought up, that if you can't explain the NASCAR playoff format in an elevator ride up to the 3rd floor of a hotel with somebody, it's too damn complex. And if that's NASCAR saying it, I'm sorry, everyone now at this point has seen it. The big point that I think a lot of people are going to catch from this, though, is from the way Jeff Gluck put it. After the first and second meetings, it looked like a 90 to 95% chance that they were going to do away with the playoffs they have now, do away with a single race championship, have a larger sample size, and basically anything with a larger sample size and more simple was on the table. Yeah, any of those you can think of on the table until TV came in. Now, of course, NBC, Fox, Prime, TNT, CW, they're all paying billions of dollars to put NASCAR on our screens, right? They're paying tons of money, and NBC in particular needs to have something at the end of the season to really push. Fox pushes the Daytona 500, Prime pushes the Coke 600 and new races like Mexico. There's the in-season challenge for TNT, and for NBC at the moment, the NASCAR Playoffs. And that is what they signed on to this new deal with. Remember that while we, the fans, have been chomping at the bit to get rid of this stuff for probably 20 years, that the industry and the TV side of it have not been on that same plane and level. And so when TV signed, they signed thinking this was the format moving forward, the same format they basically had their entire first run back with NASCAR. And the way Jeff Gluck puts it is he's maybe now 20% sure that there's a change because of the upcoming impending schedule release. And you know what? We had the same talk on NWP this past week that you're going to have to, if you have any sort of playoff, whether it be 5 races, whether it be a 3-3-3, whether it be whatever like that, you're going to have the right tracks in the right place. You can't have Talladega deciding your championship. Reading the tea leaves, hearing what Jeff and Jordan both said, hearing what others have kind of alluded to, it might be until 2027 that there is any real substantial change with the NASCAR championship. And if that is the case, NASCAR needs to get ahead of it now and just say so. Say it now. Say that it's taking longer, because it does sound like they want to get it right. It sounds like the people in the room do. The problem is TV. And Mark Martin this past week talked about how TV doesn't understand the sport. And I totally agree. You got suits up there who don't understand racing, who push certain things on the sport the same way that they do with football or basketball or baseball. The difference with NASCAR is that they don't have the same influence on, say, the rules, whether it be on the track with the double yellow line, in the car, you name it. The rules generally have stayed in NASCAR's wheelhouse. The question I have with all of this, though, is if TV really was the biggest hurdle, the biggest push, why hasn't IndyCar or Formula One or really any of these other major racing series, why have they not bended the knee and changed stuff wholesale to fit the TV side of it, whether it be across the pond or in America? Why hasn't the overall changes to the NFL playoffs over the last 50 years really been all that big, other than maybe adding a team here or there? NASCAR is the only one that they keep saying TV is basically cutting down at the knee their superstars and cutting down domination in that way. I think that's a valid question to ask, because if TV is having this kind of push, why is it just NASCAR that's capitulating every single demand? Because there was talk of NBC wanting a playoff for IndyCar, and they balked at it. Formula One had something similar happen when it came to TV and the leadership back in the 2000s, and they balked at it. So I just had to ask that question. And if so, what is it in particular about NASCAR that makes it so much more prone? Is it the costs? Is it the drivers? Is it just the leadership doesn't have the courage to go against him? I have to admit, it does make me feel a little cathartic in a way, because for years, us fans have been telling NASCAR leadership what we want, at least with the championship. I know that we're all over the place with other stuff, but for the championship, we generally are been against the playoffs. Some are definitely a lot more for the chase, and we still are looking, whether it be Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, just independent polls. It's roughly 50 to 60% of fans want a full season points format. And I would argue that with those that maybe didn't vote that as the top option, how many would really be upset from the chase section of 30 to 33% and be vehemently against the full season format? And I could even say that with the full season format to the 10 race chase. I mean, I'm all for full season points. If they brought back a 10 race chase with the way that they score points now, though, I don't think I would really be against it. I think the way the car is, it makes it that much better and that much closer. So I think that there is a bit of credibility issue with a lot of these arguments coming up, but it's very interesting to me that NASCAR is the one that bends the knee the most out of anyone out there. They've went so far trying to go the entertainment route, and now it seems like the leadership, they're starting to realize, oh crap, we might need to tone it back a bit. The drivers have been saying it for a while. The fans are saying it. The owners are saying it. And it's kind of like that scene in The Dark Knight. Like, are you really in control?
I'm in charge.
Do you feel in charge?
And I have to say, I'm really appreciating the fact that a lot of big names in the industry right now, they are pushing what they think. If it's somebody like Gluck, who's kind of like more on a 5-5 range, or he would even be down if for 1 year they did a full season format just to see what would happen. I get that's not feasible, but I like that he's putting something out there. Mark Martin's been very vocal, and I love it. One of the few former drivers from that old guard, not the old guard of Dale Jr., Matt Kenseth, Jeff Gordon, but the old guard that's actually staying in the sport and trying to make it better. I like that Chase Elliott said what he thought, that he thinks there should be a full season format, and the Dale Jr. is voicing now support for that. I again, don't think it's the most likely thing to happen, but I have to say, I think it's much more likely than it has been in a long time. I don't think really anybody is going to be happy with what happens at this rate, because you have so many people entrenched in their ways, whether it be those in the industry that are very entrenched with the playoff ways, the fan base, which still has the majority entrenched in the old school sort of way. You have newer fans that like the playoffs. You have fans that are a lot like my age who have grown up with the chase and they want the chase back. And if you add something else to that, I feel like you're just splitting the fan base even more. You're not really bringing anybody new in, especially during the NFL season. I know that's the big push for NBC is we need something that we can market against the NFL. Well, there's been no data showing that it has made any difference in bringing people in. If anything, you see the same drop you saw before the chase, during the playoffs. You see that same drop at the same time in the season. Because let's face it, in America, football's king. What I want to know is what you think about the fact that we might get this pushed back even further. Is it the right call to wait till 2027 to make these major changes? And if so, why? If not, go off. Either way, go off. All right, leave a like in this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel for more great and fun NASCAR content. Thank you so much to all my channel members for your continued support. And until next time, have a good one.